Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to be talking about the struggles of playing this game free to play. It's something that I, as a masochist of World of Tanks, still put myself through quite often by playing on my Plays for Free account. Now, full backstory of this account as quickly as I possibly can. Made it at the end of 2018 because it was suggested to me that I didn't know what the game was like to be played for the common player. You know, the people who aren't in the privileged position like me to have been playing it for so long with all of the advantages that I've collected all the way through the years. Now, I can't get rid of my knowledge of the game mechanics, but one thing that I definitely could do was to be able to get rid of all of the advantages that otherwise a lot of the paying customers would be able to get, hence the name Plays for Free. And so today I'm going to be talking about the kind of disadvantages that you get by not really just forking over a lot inside World of Tanks. Firstly, that quite often you don't have enough currency to be able to just suddenly decide, or even the premium time to be able to accelerate yourself up the tech tree, to suddenly decide that maybe a line is no longer really worth going for. I'm playing in the T-54E1 today. I'm playing it because I quite enjoy the American heavies. I like them as an autoloader. I like their playstyle. I like their ideas. I like the idea of it being this crazy kind of knife fight that you're getting yourself into, where you have to take damage to make damage, and these vehicles are fabulous for that. However, for a lot of players out there, they don't have as much time as I maybe do, or the knowledge to be able to switch out and see the new lines that are coming out. It's a very good example of why the T-54E1 has the second worst win ratio of any Tier 9 heavy tank, whereas the TNH VZ51 on the enemy team, who of course immediately fired gold rounds at me at the beginning of this game, has the second highest win ratio after the AMX M451. So I've been penetrated 3 times so far by the player's gold. I've lost nearly 3/4 of my hit points, but luckily for me I was able to put some pressure on the TNH VZ51, and we can see that that player did not like that. This is pretty much the complete conflict of World of Tanks, right? You've got the player playing the brand new meta tanks, the Czechoslovakian autoloading heavies, versus a player who's only firing regular rounds, not using any premium consumables, playing a vehicle which maybe was good possibly about 6 or 7 years ago, trying to just struggle to fight back. Luckily, we have to fight smarter rather than harder in this situation. And I realized that I need to try and kite them out, and luckily we've actually managed to get the TNH VZ down to a point where they're a little bit vulnerable maybe to a little bit of burst damage from us. But they are still going to be able to get those rounds out filthy quick with the new Czechoslovakian autoloader. So that's definitely something to mention, that by having a premium account, it's not just the credits advantage which allows you to use the premium consumables, something which I never use on this account out of a matter of principle, but also allows you to accelerate up the tech tree. It also will allow you to have arguably more equipment, or a more selection of equipment on the tank, but more on that in a second. I want to highlight that I heard the TNH VZ51 fire, and so of course I'm going to spring my trap, and I should only have to penetrate them 1 time here, unless I leave them on 11 hit points, and luckily it wasn't quite enough time for that player to be able to reload. And so just like that, we have used in theory our brains and our brawn, although also it looks like our team did play quite well in that situation, to be able to overcome a disadvantage that we had, that we're playing the tank with the second worst win ratio at Tier 9 Heavy versus the tank with the second best win ratio at Tier 9 Heavy. Now, of course, you could argue that all of the free-to-play players can manage to get that vehicle. It's just quite often you get it after the meta has already been developed, or if you're going up the tech tree without all of the advantages that a paying customer will get, such as 3 times bonuses to apply to their victories of each day, just the fact that they gain 50% more experience, it can quite often take the casual players and the non-paying players months and months and months and months and months to be able to get up the tech trees, and who knows, by then, possibly, they've been nerfed, a lot like on the Object 268 version 4, and what possibly might happen with a vehicle with the Czechoslovakian line. So even though we've managed to take out 2 of the enemy's top tier heavies in this matchup, our team is still down by 2,400 hit points. We're ahead on a tank, however. I seem to be getting myself in that situation a lot recently, and we're going to still have our work cut out for us in the T-54E1. I realize in this scenario that it's not good for me to keep plowing on where there could be a tank destroyer over in the corner, one that's unspotted. Maybe the Su-101 is actually up in the southwest corner in the hill over in that location, and also the artillery could punish us. So we've talked about the progression of the tech tree, and I want to double down on this because with the field mods going into the game, Obviously, on my main account, I have all of the tanks unlocked, so I have nothing else to spend my experience on. So I'm getting field mods in vehicles very rapidly. On my free-to-play account, I have truly noticed how painful it is to be working up a tech tree, and then you have to make this ridiculous decision of, is it a fun tank? Shall I keep playing it to be able to unlock the field mods on? Or shall I try and actually progress to be able to go through to the next tank? It seems really bizarre to me that Wargaming wouldn't allow you to grind the field mods before you've unlocked the next vehicle. Why do you have to do the entire grinding purpose on a tank while it's not got all of the flexibility? It doesn't have all of those extra hard percentage increases to health points, to engine power, yada yada yada, to the gun handling of the vehicle. Why do you have to grind all the way up towards the next tank before you've even managed to get the vehicle into peak performance? Is it because Wargaming's wanting you to spend your free experience and then start to grind the vehicle, or do they really want you to spend your free experience to be able to unlock the field mods as well, so you can actually start playing the vehicle as competitively as everyone else who is very experienced in it? Whether you like it or not, the game is competitive. Whether you win or you lose is down to your impact in a player in the battle. But when you literally don't have the statistics of the enemy tank, it can be a very hard thing to be able to achieve. So the field mods for me, especially playing on my free-to-play account recently, have been an incredibly punishing thing to try and do. And I can only imagine it's not so bad for a tank, a tier 10 tank, but for a tier 9 vehicle to not have all of the advantages, it really is truly painful. I want to lead now into talking about equipment on the vehicles. There's no doubt that players who have been paying for the battle pass have been managing to get increased amounts of bounty equipment. And the bounty equipment can be incredibly significant in allowing you to either pump up the DPM of a vehicle, allow you, if you're using bounty vents or bond vents, for example, on a tank, to completely forego using coated optics entirely. Just quickly, I wanted to interrupt myself to say that this SU, in my opinion, I think that we should have tried to attack that situation before the artillery starts to punish us. And we're incredibly lucky that the SU-101 doesn't get killed by the artillery in this scenario. The longer that we leave the game where we have tanks versus self-propelled guns, the longer that the enemy team are going to be able to have an opportunity to overcome us. And so I thought that maybe I'll try and progress with the T-34 instead. Luckily I hit the Leopard miss. I'm going to commit, go after this ISU, put a round into the side, put another round into the side, and then I'm just going to take the chance, knowing that the artillery could kill me any second now, to at least secure the kill on the Leopard. And wham bam, thank you man, we managed to get 5,000 damage and 5 kills here, and oof, at least the artillery now has told me where he is. So equipment on a vehicle can be outrageous, and as a free-to-play player, luckily because I don't use any premium consumables, which is a completely different disadvantage in itself, right? The amount of times on my free-to-play account where my tracks just keep getting tracked again and again and again because either I don't have all the crew skills available, because I don't have the large repair kit, it really is something that it's very easy to forget about when you're only playing on a fully pimped out account and you don't really consider all of those advantages that you have. It's these micro advantages in every single area. The premium consumable, for example, I could easily just switch out that fire extinguisher that has done nothing for me so far in this battle, although obviously that's kind of like a fallacy to suggest that maybe that 1 in 10 battles it wouldn't have saved my bacon from getting crispy, at least, right? But the fact that there is a consumable that you can use that either costs 10,000 credits if you buy it at half price or 20,000 credits if you don't buy it at half price, that literally makes every aspect of your vehicle 5% better. That's one of the reasons why on my free-to-play account I'll be averaging maybe, 60 in some of my really powerful vehicles, 65% win ratio, whereas on my main account I'm hopefully averaging like 63 or maybe 68 or 70% win ratio on my super powerful tanks. It's that premium account advantage, the premium consumable advantage. And while now on my free-to-play account, considering I've been playing it for 3 years and I've got it into a really good position, and I could start to afford to purchase premium consumables, I refuse to make that step because I want to always be able to remember what it feels like whenever I play on this account to not be playing the meta, to not be playing with every advantage, because I think that as soon as I stop doing that as a content creator, then I should have no opinion for at least what is a healthy minority or majority of the World of Tanks population. Oh dear, no Top Gun for me in my T-54E1 there, but a cracking result in this otherwise bit of a troll of a tank. can be good in certain situations, but there's no doubt that it's not nearly as competitive as something like the VZ51 on the enemy team. And while I can talk about all of the trials and the tribulations that we have to go through to be able to achieve even, sometimes at least for my standards, mediocre results in vehicles like the T54E1, there's no, it's kind of like the elephant in the room in a way as to why some people are being able to achieve excellent results and some people aren't. Sure, if you've got lots of time, or you're just truly dedicated, or you're willing to put up with the sacrifices that you're going to have to, there's nothing stopping you even investing absolutely no money into World of Tanks and still winning the vast majority of your games. My average win ratio on my free-to-play account is 60%, and I've never spent anything on it. Although I would argue that my occupation and the ability for me to be able to invest large amounts of time in the mission marathons to be able to get the premium tanks from them for free is definitely, for a lot of players, an unfeasible advantage to overcome. Nevertheless, undoubtedly, even though I have managed to grind to be able to gain those advantages, it's really just saving time. That's really where World of Tanks is getting you. It's that it tries to make the grind as disgustingly brutal as possible, and it puts you in these completely unfavorable situations for large amounts of time to try and encourage you to spend to accelerate your progress, to finally get to a point where you feel my tank is as competitive as it really should be for everyone. And so I think one of the skills of the player is being able to differentiate between where maybe spending money on the game is not going to be so much of a time save and it's actually a bit of a waste, and knowing where to invest your funds to be able to get the most time for your buck. Sounds bizarre, right? And this is hopefully something that I'm able to give to you all through my recommendations all the way through the years, and it's especially something that a lot of people hopefully pick up from with the streams when I'm playing on the free-to-play account. There is one thing I will say though, when you're playing with as much of a disadvantage as I am on my free-to-play account, which in some areas is definitely self-inflicted, just to be able to, again, keep me playing the game like a large minority or majority of you still play it, there is something truly special when it actually ends up working out that you've managed to come through and take down that game, no matter the disadvantages that you have. We get a high caliber medal here and an ace tanker for our 1318 base experience, and it was beautiful to be able to shut down the meta tank slamming gold from the beginning of the game, and then to still controlled, or at least have a controlled approach to be able to take down the rest of it. And we would have made a profit with or without a premium account because we didn't fire any gold and we didn't use any premium consumables. And so I'd like to challenge a couple of mentalities in the video today. There's definitely a section of players who think that the game is just completely outrageously pay to win. It's completely rigged against them and you have absolutely no chance as a free-to-play player. I'm sorry, but those players, you're tricking yourself. Get your tinfoil hats off. You're wrong. You can still be competitive. But there's also another section of players who think that they're probably incredibly good because they're slamming around in their meta tanks and literally just farming all of what are the unpaid actors or the unpaying actors on the enemy team. And they're kind of wrong as well. You're probably not that special, mate. You're kind of just grinding your meta vehicles with all of the advantages against the players who don't have them. And I think there's the majority, or should I say the rational response, and that sure, this game is pay to win and you can manage to get at least about a 10 or at most a 20% advantage. But at the end of the day, your knowledge as a player and your ability to make plays in the game is still overwhelmingly the most important thing. Tell me, I don't need to tell you how darn frustrating it is these days, more than ever before, to be a free-to-play player in World of Tanks. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was it for today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know what you think about my opinions and whether you've got anything to add to it in the comments down below. Are you playing the game completely for free? Do you have a set amount that you put into the game each month? And how do you try and invest that money? Do you try and invest it to give you an advantage? Do you try and invest it to have fun? Or do you try and invest it to just save you time? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic and hopefully I'll see you soon.